But today, inshallah, we will go through it. And hopefully, you will be able to see why this Dawah course is successful around the world. It is very simple, it is straightforward, it is easy to follow, and it is based upon, most importantly, the Quran and the Sunnah. This is not something we made up. It is something we have extracted from the Quran and the Sunnah. So you will see in due course why this Dawah course is important. First of all, before we get into Dawah, the course itself, we have to understand why we attend a Dawah course in the first place. What's the reason? Nowadays people attend business workshops, how to do better business, how to get a better job, how to become a better model, better actor, better this. But hardly anyone is concerned about the most important thing in a Muslim's life, which is his deen, right? And how to convey the deen. So if anything, we the Muslims who spend our lifetimes practicing Islam, we need to understand how to convey this faith to others in a beautiful fashion, in a beautiful way, so that this particular faith is appreciated. It is understood and followed by others. And if they don't follow it, at least they will respect it, that it is a good way. It is a force for good in the world, the religion of Islam. So the course objectives are why Dawah is a part of your everyday life, so that you understand that. The huge benefits and rewards of Dawah, then gain confidence to speak to anyone about Islam. A lot of people nowadays don't feel confident enough to speak about Islam because there is so much bombardment on the media. There is so much negative coverage of Islam. And unfortunately, with the rise of some extremist entities, they don't help us to portray a good image of Islam. So people feel less confident. But this Dawah course will show you how to be confident, inshallah, about conveying the message of Islam. How to connect with non-Muslims. That's also a big issue. Many Muslims, they consider non-Muslims untouchables. They are non-Muslim, we are Muslim, we have nothing to do with them. It shouldn't be like that. You are Muslim so that they can look at you and follow you. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand the meaning of being a Muslim. A Muslim is someone who represents God, Allah, on the planet. And if the representative is not doing a good job, then what's the point of doing that job in the first place? So we, the Muslims, represent Islam in this world. For that reason, we have to connect with others so that we can convey the message of Islam to them. The purpose of our life is to worship Allah. One of the best ways to worship Allah is to call others to Islam. And this is why the prophets were mentioned in the Quran. The prophets, when they were mentioned in the Quran, what does Allah talk about? Does Allah talk about the details of the Hajj or the Salah? How much they cried in Salah? How long their sajda was? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the only exception to this rule. But when you read about the prophets in the Quran, Allah is simply putting one point there. Dawah. Their da'wah to others. So this is very, very important for us to understand. So develop your sincerity in da'wah is another course objective, inshallah. So these 5 objectives will be fulfilled, inshallah ta'ala. So this is a foundational course. You do not need to be a PhD doctor or a philosopher or a scholar to understand all this. This is very simple, as you will see, inshallah. Very, very simple. So, are you involved in da'wah? Been on a da'wah training course ever before? Explain Islam to someone? Have you done these things before? Feel comfortable explaining Islam to non-Muslims? You have to ask these questions. Have you done da'wah before? Have you ever spoken to non-Muslims before about Islam and told them why Islam is a beautiful faith? Why Allah alone deserves to be worshipped? Why we even believe in Allah in the first place? People may have these questions in their minds. Why do you believe in Allah? Why do you dress like this? Why do you walk like this? Why do you talk like this? Why do you pray like this? People may have questions. What kind of way is this to pray? You put your head down and your backside is up. People maybe, they may have questions like this. Yeah? Why do you keep brushing your teeth 5 times a day? Once is enough in the morning. Are you crazy? People have these questions, yeah? Right? Why do Muslim women put this cloth on their head? It's hot outside. Why don't they take this off? Right? People ask these questions. So, have you answered these questions? If you did, how did you answer this question? And did you do justice? These are very important points you have to think about. Introduction to Dawah. What is Dawah now? What is Dawah? What is Dawah? Dawah is, in the Arabic language, it means to call, to invite. And technically, the Shari'i meaning, the religious meaning of the term Dawah in Islam, in the Arabic language, we always, generally speaking, have 2 meanings of words. One is the linguistic meaning of a word. The other one is the technical, Shari'i, Islamic meaning of the word. The Islamic meaning of the word Dawah, it means calling to Allah. Make this very clear. Invite to Allah and His faith. Allah and His way. You're calling to Allah. This is Dawah. Repeat after me. Dawah is calling to Allah. Remember this. Dawah is nothing more, nothing less than that. When you are doing Dawah, it is not about you making yourself look like an intelligent philosopher. When someone asks you a question, you may be in a discussion for 2 hours with someone, and you think you're talking about Islam, but not once you have called this person to Allah. Not once. What Dawah is that? What Dawah is that? Imagine you are on a road from Abuja to Lagos. You start from Abuja and you want to go to Lagos. And then what you do is, instead of going south, you go north. Yes? Yes? You go north, you go into Niger. From Niger you go into Algeria. From Algeria you go to Morocco. From Morocco you go to Sahara. And then you go all over West Africa. And then when we ask you what you're doing, I'm going to Lagos. Would that make sense? If you want to go to Lagos. The road to Lagos is south. Yes? It is south from Abuja, not north and into. This is what Dawah is. Dawah is straight to Allah. Straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah. Da'wah is ilallah. It is not other discussions you may have. Some people think talking about hijab and talking about other things in Islam is all. No, these are branches. These are branches. But the core, the root of Islam is belief in Allah. If you haven't called people to Allah, you haven't done dawah. Is that clear? So dawah means calling to Allah. Repeat after me. Dawah means calling to Allah. Calling to Allah. This is it. Okay? And this is our evidence. Our evidence is this. We're not just making things up. These are the verses from the Quran, okay, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what da'wah is. The first verse is from Surah An-Nahl, where Allah says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ud'u ila sabili rabbik bil hikmah wa maw'izatil hasana wa jadilhum billati hiya ahsan. Okay, this is one of the most powerful verses where Allah teaches you how to do da'wah. Firstly, Allah tells you what is da'wah. Number one, point number one. Da'wah is ila sabili rabbik. Who is your Rabb? Allah. So da'wah is ud'u ila sabili rabbik. Call to the way of your Lord. This is da'wah. Number one. How? Now, how is the question? He tells you. Your Lord tells you how. Bil hikmah. Number one. Bil hikmah. Hikmah is al-qawl al-munasib, fil waqt al-munasib, fil makan al-munasib. The right word in the right place at the right time. Hikmah is not just randomly screaming and shouting and this is not dawah. Dawah always comes with hikmah. If there is no hikmah, there is no dawah. Is that clear? Who says so? Allah. Not me, Allah. Allah is telling you, call to Allah with hikmah. So what is hikmah? For example, you go to a wedding and you see the bride and the groom. And when you see the bride, you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Would that make sense? Huh? You go to a janaza and you look at the dead body and say, congratulations, brothers. People will think you're crazy, huh? Yes? You should say congratulations at the wedding. And when you come to the janaza, this is what we call hikmah. Right? So when you speak to a people, understand their culture, their language, their sensitivities. You must understand who they are, what they do, what they eat, what they think, how they think. All these things fall into the concept of hikmah. Okay? So da'wah is with hikmah. Da'wah is not just shouting and screaming and insulting and pushing and all these things. This is not da'wah. If you're doing that, if you are doing that to people and you think you're telling them about Islam, stop doing it. Stop doing it. You're not doing da'wah. You're damaging da'wah. You're insulting Allah. So this is why, bil hikmah number one. Then number two, wal maw'izat al-hasana. Number two is beautiful preaching. The right choice of words. When you give da'wah, be very careful with your words. Number three, if you have to now argue, because sometimes when you give da'wah, people throw questions at you. They start arguing. If you have to argue, then وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Then argue with them in the most beautiful way. The most beautiful way. You know what that is. Smile. Control your anger. Control your temper. If someone says something bad about Islam, don't attack. Don't say things like, don't start swearing at them and don't start behaving like them. You have to control. Believe me, wallahi, good manners, if your preaching hasn't done the job, if your words haven't done the job, your manners will do. Because the person who is talking to you may forget your words. The person may forget your words, but the person will not forget your manner. Do you agree? The person will remember your manner, that you were smiling, even though, despite the fact the person was insulting you, you were smiling continuously. That's strength. Real strength is not just bursting out and showing your anger. Real strength is controlling yourself and keep smiling in the face of hostility like that. In da'wah in particular. I'm not talking about your personal issues. Da'wah. When you're dealing with the matter of Allah, okay? Imagine you are doing a business and you really want to get a contract for your business. You go to this person who has the power to give you the contract. Yes? You start talking to the person and the person is mocking you. The person is mocking you. Oh, you look at your clothes, you don't look right. You're not the right person. And the person is mocking you, making a joke out of you. If you really want the contract, what will you do? What will you do? You will be patient. You will be patient. You will smile. You will endure. So what about the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's more important than your business and your job and your other things in life. So when we do da'wah, we have to be very careful. The other verse, very powerful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, let there be a group among you who call others to goodness, which is da'wah. So our duty is to convey, not to convert. Upon us, remember from the start, as far as the Muslims are concerned, we are not here to convert anyone. We cannot convert anyone. We don't have the power to convert anyone. We are not here to convert anyone. So your job is not to convert. Allah made it very clear in the Quran, conversion is not for you. You cannot convert. Allah converts people. Allah changes hearts, not you. So Allah told the Prophet, the most eloquent man to walk the planet, the most sincere person to walk the planet, the most effective person in communication who walked the planet, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah tells him, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta, walakin Allah yahdi man yasha, wa huwa a'lamu bil muhtadin. O Muhammad, you cannot guide those you love. You cannot guide those you love. It is Allah who guides people, and He knows better who deserves guidance. And this verse was about the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Talib. The Prophet was very sad that he did not convert to Islam. And Allah sent this verse down to tell him, why do you think that you can convert to people? It's not you. It is Allah, it is me who converts people. Upon you is to deliver. And that's what the Prophet said in the Quran, وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. Upon us is to deliver the message. And that's it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides who changes and who does not. So this is also a very, very powerful verse in the Quran which tells you the virtues of da'wah. The best people, who are they? وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Whose word is better than the one who calls to Allah and does righteous deeds, and then he says, I am one of the believers. So again Allah defines what da'wah is in this verse. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. So calling to Allah. Calling to Allah is da'wah. Okay? And Allah is telling you the best speech, the best words are the words of da'wah. The best words. So you people who are listening to me right now, you may be speaking for hours upon hours, for years upon years, in your business, in your daily interactions with your wives, your children, your husbands, your fathers, everything you do in life. Speaking. You all speak, right? But the best words that come out of your mouth in your entire life are the words that call to Allah. Subhanallah. Allah tells you in the Quran. So the best speech, the best words you may ever utter in your life are the words you have uttered for Allah, to call to Allah. Other than that, it may be good, but it's not the best. The best is calling to Allah. Whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, or whether it's 1 year. If you call to Allah, and the more you call to Allah, the better you have on your scale. Benefits of this approach. The loving, compassionate, and wise approach. It breaks down barriers. You know, the Dawah course we will do today will teach you all these things. This is what it should do. Build credibility and relationships. Okay? When you give da'wah, you have to build a relationship with the person you're talking to. Creates an environment for open, honest, and meaningful conversation. Helps change the current perception of Muslims and Islam. So the da'wah course we will do today will achieve these things, inshallah ta'ala. It will break barriers, build credibility. It will provide you with a good environment to have a good discussion, an intelligent discussion. And it will change the image of Islam, not only in your minds today, inshallah, in the minds of non-Muslims. So a prerequisite for da'wah is to know Allah. Before you give da'wah, you have to know what you're talking about, right? If you are giving da'wah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you start talking about how tasty tomatoes and yams are, or what's the best food in Nigeria, huh? It depends where you are, huh? It depends where you are. Okay. Let's say Abuja. What's the best food here? Rice. MashaAllah. So imagine you're calling to Allah and you start talking about rice, how tasty rice is. Yeah? That doesn't make sense. Huh? Sorry?
Rice are two special cooking outside.
Okay. Okay. So you have to know what you're talking about. If you call people to Allah, know Allah first. Who is Allah? Who is your creator? Why is knowing Allah a vital prerequisite for da'wah? Why is it important? So this is why it's important. Knowledge of Allah is the entire foundation of our da'wah. We cannot call to Allah if we do not know Allah. So we have to know Allah. We have to understand or try our best to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based upon what He has Himself told us in the Quran. What Allah hasn't told us about Himself, we can never know. We will never know. What Allah chose to tell us, we will know that. Other than that, we cannot know. So, these are the things we have to know about Allah. Oneness of Allah's Lordship. These are the categorizations of Tawheed. We have to know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one and unique. Okay, Allah is one and unique in His Lordship. Allah is the Rabb. He is the Creator. He is the Sustainer. Okay, then Allah has unique names and attributes. They only belong to Allah. So the attributes of Allah are unique to Him. Those attributes do not belong to others. And then He alone deserves to be worshipped. Worship in whatever form, in any form, cannot be for anyone else other than Allah. So this is where we disagree with the Christians. They worship Jesus. Then there are other people who worship idols. Okay? They are giving the right of Allah to someone else. So these things you have to know and understand. So what is oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah tells us how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unique. Allahu khaliqu kulli shay wa huwa ala kulli shayin wakil. Allah is the creator of all things. Everything, Allah is the creator of it. Everything. Then, about the uniqueness of Allah in His qualities, His attributes, Allah tells us, Laysa kamithlihi shay, wa huwa as-sami'ul basir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is nothing like Him and He is hearer and seer of all. Allah, there is nothing like Him. No one is like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He alone is unique. And then the final verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the worship. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah did not create man and jinn except to worship Him. Simple. So these are some of the things you have to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who Allah is, He is your creator. He made you. He made your mothers. He made your fathers. He made the universe. He made the planet Earth. He made your food and your crops and your country and your land and your soil. Everything was made by Him. He alone. He is the most powerful, who sent you down here, who put you on earth. You did not choose to be born in Nigeria. You did not choose the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, the size of your body. You did not choose any of this. It was chosen for you. So that means you were put here by someone else's command, and that's Allah. That's your creator. And why He did that? So that you remember His names and attributes. So when you grow, He has given you akal to understand that He is the one who made you. And He has certain qualities. You have to recognize those qualities, and then because of that, worship Him. Don't worship anyone else. So once you know these things, then you have to understand this is one disease that will never be forgiven. Shirk. It will never be forgiven. Never. Allah will never forgive shirk. As the Quran clearly states, in Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalik liman yasha. And then Allah is telling us Allah will not forgive anyone who ascribe partners with Him or to Him. But other than that, Allah may forgive anything else. Allah may forgive anything else, but shirk will not be forgiven. So these are the effects knowing Allah should have on your lives, on your characters. Dignity and self-esteem. You should have dignity. Anyone who believes in Allah cannot be a foul person. This person is graceful, is respectful, has dignity. And you don't bow to anyone other than Allah. So that is your dignity. Humbleness. You have to be humble. You have to have humility. Never say I. Never say I did this, I did that, I am this, I am that. No, you're nothing. You are nothing. So belief in Allah, you see, have you seen people who don't believe in Allah and they're saying, I am this, I am this, I did this, I did this. You remember Muhammad Ali, the boxer? Yes? You remember what he used to say when he was young? And later on when he got the Parkinson's disease. You know in Parkinson's disease what happens? You shake like this. You shake like this. You don't have control of your... And then he said, you know, I was wrong. I said too much kufr. And then they had this Superman. You remember the the movie Superman? What was the name of the actor? What was the name? Christopher Reed. He made this movie Superman. He is super. He can do anything. And then he fell from the horse and he was paralyzed neck down. Right? So people, when they become proud, like Fir'aun, he said, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la. I am your great Lord. Me. Then Allah, one slap. You know when they made the Titanic? You know Titanic? You know what Titanic is? It was this big ship. And when they made it, it was so powerful. It was so big. It was so strong. I think it was like 1 mile long. It was the largest ship ever assembled in human history. They said in one of the newspaper cuttings, in one of the newspaper headlines, they said, even God cannot sink it. It's so strong, even God cannot sink it. And one tiny iceberg sunk it. One little pin, in the sea, an iceberg popping up like a pin, like a needle. It drowned the whole... So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kills arrogance. Humility. If you believe in Allah, the best quality and the topmost quality to have is humility. Me, nothing. Allah, everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everything. Allah does everything. We are nothing. We are weak. We are fragile. We are very limited. Morality. Then right and wrong comes from Allah. So if you believe in Allah, you have to believe in the right and the wrong which comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah tells you something is wrong, it's wrong. Don't argue. And if He tells you something is right, then it's right. Then ultimate peace and happiness. People who believe in Allah can never be depressed. Those who rely on Allah, those who have tawakkul on Allah, they can't say, I don't have this, I don't have this. They will be happy. They will always be happy. They will be content. Some people, they create things for themselves in their lives and they think these things will bring them happiness. No, they don't bring you happiness. They bring you temporary buzz. A buzz, you know what buzz is? It's like intoxication. You know when people take drugs, you know why they take drugs? It makes them high temporarily. So sometimes you get something in life, some money, some car, some business, you get high. It affects you like drugs, like you have cocaine or heroin or something. You had a shot and you're like feeling high. Oh, subhanallah, look at me. I have this car, I have this business, I have all this money. But then you realize, you wake up that it was nothing. It's taken away from you, then you wake up. And if you don't have Allah in your life, you will die out of depression. But if you had Allah in your life from the start, what comes, what goes, doesn't matter. You all agree? It doesn't matter what comes to you, what goes from you. Because everything comes from Allah and everything goes back to Allah. So it doesn't matter. So when your child dies, Allah forbid, something happens to your parents or something happens to your family, you lose your business, you lose your car, you don't die out of depression. You look up to the next day. There's another day. And Allah will provide you with something greater. When you have this belief, you will see that Allah will always provide for you. So always have trust in Allah and then see what Allah does for you. Optimism and total reliance, which is tawakkul. Bravery. Anyone who believes in Allah is not a coward. You cannot be coward. You have to be brave. Okay? And total submission. So you believe in Allah, you have to submit completely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Nice weather, huh? Beautiful weather, mashallah. So, what are the rewards for da'wah? What are the rewards for da'wah? Da'wah, as I said earlier, is the best speech you may ever utter in your entire life. Da'wah. Whatever you say for da'wah. Okay. What do you think of this guy? What do you think? What do you see? What do you see? Sorry? Maybe we should have had a Nigerian rapper or someone, a singer there. Yeah? Someone you know. Someone you know. Maybe you don't know this person. Right? So, what do you think of this person? You look like shaitan, yeah? It looks like shaitan, yes? Human shaitan. Look at him. Tattoos. All of this. And look all of this. And there are many people. So when you see someone like that, would you give dawah, generally speaking? Huh? You would say, A'udhu Billah. A'udhu Billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Yeah? you would run away from the person. Yes? But look what da'wah does. Is this the same person? This is the same person. This is before and this is after. This is what da'wah does. So never judge people by their looks. You don't know who you may be talking to. Wallahi. Sometimes you give da'wah to someone, you think, oh, this person is nothing. I'm wasting my time. No. That person may become someone so important in the future that this person will take you to Jannah with your family. Okay? So, look at this. This is an example. So, someone gave him da'wah and he ended up like this. And there are so many examples. Wallahi, there is this singer, an Irish singer. She's very famous. Sinead O'Connor. Do you know her? Sinead O'Connor. She's very famous. She's big. She's as big as Madonna. You know Madonna? You know Michael Jackson, Madonna? Sinead O'Connor is as big as Madonna. She recently accepted Islam and she put on hijab. And she was interviewed on TV. This is 1 week ago. 1 week ago. She said, I was a Muslim all my life. I didn't know I was a Muslim. I found Islam now. You know why it took her so long to find Islam now? You know why? Because no one gave her dawah. People thought, oh, she's an evil woman. She's a singer. She's always naked. She's always drunk. She's always on drugs. She will never accept Islam. But she said, I was always a Muslim. But I only found out now that I was a Muslim all my life. So never ever think that dawah is wasted, time is wasted. Give dawah. Talk to people. Even if someone is drunk, even give them love. Okay, and you will see Allah will change their lives through you. So having empathy and sympathy is very important in dawah. You cannot do dawah if you don't have sympathy for others. So the Prophet ﷺ said, the likeness of me and you is that of a man who lit a fire and grasshoppers and moths started falling into it. And he tried to push them away. I'm seizing your waistbands and trying to pull you away from the fire, but you are trying to get away from me. So a person who's doing da'wah is trying to protect people from harm, from the fire of hell. Imagine, you're like a firefighter. You're like a firefighter saving lives. And we talked about this earlier. The best people in speech are the ones who call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who would want to have this car? I know in Nigeria everyone wants this car. MashaAllah. This is one of the most expensive cars today in the world. It's called Ferrari. Yes? And if you gave a choice to everyone, this car, everyone would put their hand up. Yes, I want this car. Yes? Yes? But Allah has something better than this. Look. The Prophet ﷺ told us, by Allah, if Allah were to guide one man through you, it would be better for you than to own the best of camels. Red camels were the best camels at the time of the Prophet. What the Ferrari is today was the red camel at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet said it is better for you to bring one person to Islam or one person to guidance than owning red camels. Allahu Akbar. So, giving da'wah to one person and bringing the person to Islam for Allah is better than this. It is better than this car. You may be running after the car, but Allah has something better for you. So the rewards of da'wah are immense in Islam. Allahu Akbar. The Prophet ﷺ told us that you will not believe, you will not have iman until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. This is the golden rule of Islam. Muslims cannot be selfish. We cannot be cruel. We cannot let people suffer and not help them. We can't be like that. For that reason, you have to do da'wah. Because, wallahi, speak to those who come to Islam from kufr. They will tell you how dangerous kufr is. How dangerous and how damaging kufr is. And they are only suffering because most Muslims are sleeping. They don't do da'wah. They don't talk to non-Muslims. They don't help them. Wallahi, if all Muslims, not all Muslims, even 10% Muslims in Nigeria, they started to give da'wah, Nigeria will change in the next 10 to 20 years. I believe this. Inshallah. Around 30% of the Quran, are you listening, brothers and sisters? 30% of the Quran is about the stories of the prophets giving da'wah. 33%. 1/3 of the Quran is about da'wah. And how can we ignore it? How can we ignore it and not do it? Wallahi. And Allah tells us, we did not send any messenger before you, but we revealed to him, none has the right to be worshipped but I, so worship me. Every single messenger came with the da'wah of Tawheed. You have to do it. You have to follow them. If you truly follow the messengers, you have to do da'wah ilallah. Call people to Allah. The Prophet's number one mission was to give da'wah. This was his constant sunnah. And we are following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, "Alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnatil khulafa ar-rashidin al-mahdin min ba'di." Upon you is my way. And what is the way of the Prophet? Da'wah. He sees a Jewish boy dying. He sits next to him and tells him, "Qul la ilaha illallah. Qul la ilaha illallah." And the father, the Jewish man, tells the boy, just follow Muhammad. Follow Abu Qasim. And the boy, he says the Shahada before he dies. And the Prophet was so happy, Allahu Akbar, like he has found the greatest treasure of this world. He saved one man from hellfire. We have so many people who are willing to listen to us, and we don't indulge with them. So these are the characteristics of du'at. Sincerity. A da'iyah has to be sincere. He must seek knowledge of Islam. You must seek knowledge, ilm. Talabul ilm faridatun ala kulli Muslim. Men and women, the first command in Islam, the first hukum from Allah is what? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Khalaqal insana min alaq. Iqra, read. That's the first hukum from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. And the Prophet said, Ballighu anni walau ayah. Convey from me, even if it's one verse, one statement. Just give it. Don't sit on it. Don't be stingy with my teachings. The character of a da'iyah, someone who calls to Allah, you have to be gentle and kind. Then you can't be harsh. You can't be harsh, always angry with people. No, gentle and kind. That's the best person as far as Allah is concerned. The Prophet said the best of you is the one with best manners. Okay? Musa and Fir'aun, the example of Musa. Allah tells Musa to go and speak to Fir'aun softly. Yes? Who is Fir'aun now? Fir'aun is one of the biggest criminals in the world. Ana Rabbukum al-Ala. And he's killing innocent people. Allah tells in the Quran that he was killing innocent people. So Allah, despite all that, tells Musa to go and speak to him gently. Right? So we have an example from the Salaf that one of the Khulafa of Banu Abbas, he was in Mecca for Hajj, and one of the scholars came and spoke to him very harshly because of some things he was doing. He was the ruler of the time, Khalifa of Banu Abbas, and this scholar came and spoke to him very harshly. The Khalifa was also a scholar of Islam. You know, the Khulafa of that time, they were also scholars. They knew. He turned around and he said to the scholar, "You are not better than Musa, and I am not worse than Fir'aun. So why do you talk to me like that?" Subhanallah. Fir'aun was worse than me, and Musa was better than you. And Allah tells him, go and speak to Fir'aun gently. So what about these people on the streets? How can we speak to them harshly and be harsh in da'wah? So you have to be kind-hearted. All of these qualities are from Islam. The Quran talks about them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the merciful. The Prophet said, "Man la yarham la yurham." Okay? "Man la yarhamin nas la." Who does not show mercy to people, Allah will not show mercy to him. Subhanallah. And this means everyone, Muslims and non-Muslims. Muslims and non-Muslims. And you have to be polite and good manners, akhlaq. Having ego and pride is a barrier to the da'wah. If you are arrogant and egotistic or proud, then you cannot indulge in da'wah. You're the wrong person. It prevents from connecting with others. Pride is to reject the truth and look down on others. This is what kibr. This is what kibr is. Kibr is defined by the Messenger of Allah. What does pride, kibr in Islam mean? It means reject the truth. Allahu Akbar. That you say truth, this is not the truth. Even you know this is the truth, you reject it. The second quality is you look down on others. You belittle others. You think I am better than this person. And this was done by who? Who? Shaitan. Ana khairum minhu. I am better than him. Better than who? Adam. But who knows who's better? Allah. Allah told him Adam is better. But he goes, no, I am better. Aba was takbar, bakana min al-kafirin. He was proud and he became a disbeliever. So, kibr is a disease which has to go out of your hearts if you want to be serious about da'wah, inshallah. And avoid insincere, useless debates. Don't talk to people just to show them you are intelligent and you're very, very eloquent and you are a philosopher. No. The purpose of da'wah is cut short. Cut short, straight to the point. Allah. Do you believe in Allah? How will you face Allah? Allah is the one who created you. Do you worship Him? People, wallahi, it hits them like a knife. Because most people have never thought about this before in their lives. So it's very important to remind people about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Creator. Engage with people on their level. So assess the situation. Who are you talking to? If the person is very simple, be simple. If the person is very sophisticated, then try to be specific. But always remember the focus, Allah. Allah. It is always Allah, calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And do not go to extremes. The Prophet ﷺ said, beware of extremism in religion, because the only thing that destroyed those before you was extremism in religion. You know, being extreme, always thinking extreme. And what is extremism? Extremism is you focus too much on minor things and neglect the major things. This is extremism. I'll give you an example of extremism. Abdullah bin Umar was on Hajj, the son of Umar bin Khattab. And the people of Iraq, they came and they said, what is the hukam of killing a mosquito? Mosquito. Yes? Killing a mosquito in Ihram. And he asked them, where are you from? And they said, we are from Iraq. He said, you killed the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and did not ask questions about his blood. And now you're asking me questions about mosquito's blood. This is extremism. People do things and they don't think of Allah. But when there's some small thing here and there in front of other people to impress them, to make them look like I am very strong Muslim. When you are around other people, you start to behave like a very strong, I have too much taqwa. But when you're alone, you will do big crimes against Allah. The way you treat your mothers, your parents, your wives, your children, big crimes. But when you're in public, Akhi, your trouser is not right. Akhi, the length of your beard. Akhi, subhanallah, don't put your hands like this when you pray salah. These things are important. But in Islam, we look at the priority, the big things. And after the big things come these small things, right? Okay? So when you're committing big crimes, when you are killing the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and you're worried about mosquitoes, then you are in problem. This is extremism, okay? This is ghulu. This is what we call ghulu. And what is da'wah downfall? You on a break at work and your work colleague John asks you a question, why do Muslims pray? You answer the question as best you can. But it leads to follow-up questions, why do you need to wash your feet in the sink? Can you not just pray them all at once at the end of the day? Why do you need to take an extended lunch on Fridays? This goes on and on and on. So, the point is, in a dawah situation, someone asks you questions, you answer one question, another question follows, then another question follows, then another question follows, and then what happens? This is an endless cycle. You keep answering questions, and you have not done dawah. You have not called this person to Allah. So this is where dawah starts to fall down. This is the downfall of dawah. Okay? Knowing the human being. Let us reflect. Dawah is a call to whom? Allah. Dawah is reconnecting the hearts back to Allah. Okay? Dawah is recognizing the truth. Within the truth is within who? Humans. All these people walking around, they have truth in them. They know the truth. You just have to awaken it. You have to shake them for them to realize the truth. As mentioned earlier, to call to Allah, we must know about Allah. Then, to call the human being to Allah, we must know about the human being also. So we need to know about the human nature. What is the difference between these two? They look very similar, huh? But one is what? A robot. The other one is? What's the difference? This is the difference. The human has aql, nafs, ruh, qalb, fitra. Ability to contemplate, reflect, feel. Intellect, in other words. Feelings, sentiments. Yes? Humans have these qualities. Robots, programmed. Input, output, without reflection or contemplation. No feelings or emotions. Robots do not have any feelings. Despite what these cartoons produced by Walt Disney tell you, they make the robots look like humans, that they have sentiments. No, robots have no sentiments. Only humans have sentiments, right? So awaken the truth from the within the human being. The fitrah relates especially to da'wah. Any rational argument we give for God's existence or Islam are a means, not an end. The end goal is to awaken the truth from within them. The fitrah is inside the person. The person knows the truth. It's there. You just have to push. You have to awaken it. You have to shake it. Right? Intellectually. So what is fitrah? Fitrah is an innate disposition placed within every human being. It contains two primary forms of knowledge. Allah exists. Every human knows Allah exists. Allah is worthy of praise and worship. The second point is every human knows there is a supreme entity who made us, and we have to pay respect to that entity. That is Allah. This is fitrah. This is fitrah. And these are some of the verses from the Quran that clarify the concept of fitrah. So, this verse, it talks about when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. Allah took people out of Adam's backbone, his loins, and Allah asked them, am I not your Rabb? And they said, yes, you are our Rabb. So it is designed within every human to believe in Allah. It's part of the fitrah. Every child is born in a state of fitrah, then his parents make him a Jew or a Christian or a Magian. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. So every child is born pure, with pure beliefs in one creator and the concept of worship. But it is people who turn the child into X, Y or Z, right? So this is very, very clear. So these are some of the ways to unlock the fitrah of the person. Rational arguments, experience you have with people, spirituality. If the person is spiritual, then you speak spiritually. Reflection, make them think. Character, your character may make people think about Islam, your character. Revelation from Allah. Sometimes Allah, what Allah tells you in the Quran, it wakes people up. It wakes people up. So it's very important. So now, I will stop here. Brothers and sisters, this was an important part, the introduction of the Dawah course. We had to go through this in the beginning. And I hope you have understood everything so far. Have you understood everything so far? We are moving a bit fast. Do apologize for that, but the time is very short for us. That's why you have to pay attention fully. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.